All right, shake it out, loosen up a little bit. This is the Gun Talk After Show. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's serious, but it's always worth it to hang around for the after show. A lot of times we cover topics we either couldn't get to or didn't want to put on the radio. If you're on hold, stay right there, because we're calling Tom back to the microphone for a little more fun. Show producer Jim Kinsey will be here along with Michael and Michelle. Now, the Gun Talk After Show.
All right, this is the After Show. I'm Tom Gresham, and glad that you joined us. So if you are listening to this, there's no point in trying to call in because it means you're listening to a recorded show, and we're not doing this right now. It's called time shifting. So, all right, we got... Everybody's going, what the heck is wrong with that guy? We got Michelle, Michael, and Jim all involved here. So you guys are all here?
We're all accounted for.
Mostly.
Okay, good. Yeah. Good, I'm leaving. You guys got this. Oh, man. Fascinating show today. We kind of bounced around, but I guess the one thread running through it all is this mother from Pennsylvania who drives into New Jersey and gets arrested for having a gun there when she has a permit in Pennsylvania. It brings up a lot of things. I've heard people say, well, she should have known. Yeah, I know she should have known. But you also shouldn't be looking at 10 years in prison for a paperwork violation. I'm just wondering what your guys' reactions to all that was.
I think what you said about the jury thing, about if you know a law is not moral or not right, you don't have to go by the letter of the law. And I hope that comes out in this case because it's just ridiculous. I mean, we need national reciprocity. There's no doubt. And this is a perfect example of it.
I would love
She's not an arms dealer. She wasn't some gangbanger.
Yeah, she's a working mother with 2 kids, and she was trying to protect herself because she's been robbed twice, and she did everything right. She went and got fingerprinted photographed, got the training, got the background check, got the permit, did the things you're supposed to do, just screwed up. I would love for somebody to take out a bunch of billboards around town to try to shame that prosecutor and have a picture of her. Have you guys seen the picture of her with her 2 kids?
Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great picture. She's just, a beautiful young woman and these 2 young boys she's got. And put that picture up there and say, whatever his name is, prosecutor, wants to send this woman to prison for 10 years for a paperwork violation. Ask him why. And then put the phone number up there for his office.
Ooh.
Good idea.
I'd kick him the money towards that.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get that thing going, see what we can do. Well, it'd be interesting. We'll ask. In fact, I tell you what. For those who are listening, if you think that's a good idea, shoot me an email, tom@guntalk.com, and let me know if you would kick in some money. If we get any kind of interest for it, maybe we'll start something like that and tag along with the Second Amendment folks from New Jersey.
I mean, you think about it. We get 1,000 people to kick in $20. That buys some billboard space.
Yeah. I mean, and all you need is go get 4 billboards for a couple of months. And,
right.
You probably could do a deal. And if you could I don't know if you can in New Jersey. Might be able to. If you could find somebody who has a billboard company who likes the issue, you might get a deal. Never know.
And you don't say anything about guns or firearms or anything else in the ad.
Nope. Yep. Just say, ask him why, and then here's the number, and there you go. I don't know. Yeah. I could be worthwhile. So
yeah, I agree.
So what you guys been shooting this week? Anything other than the breeze?
Michael's want to shoot his truck. He's been working on that all week.
Yeah, that's been lovely. I actually fixed it with zip ties, so you'd be proud of me, Tom.
You went all MacGyver on us, huh?
I did. The distributor cap, the bolts broke off, and I couldn't get the cap to stay on. Instead of buying a new distributor, I zip-tied it.
You do understand that we certainly have a clue as to how old that thing is when it has a distributor at all.
Yeah, it's an 89 F-150.
Yeah.
It almost turned into shotgun target practice this weekend, but it didn't.
We could actually, you could raise money for a new car if you would have a shoot my truck event.
That's a good idea, yeah.
I like
Take that thing out to Jim's place and say, all right, everybody, here's the deal. You get, for $10, you get to unload 1 magazine worth of ammo into this.
I like
bring your own ammo.
Bring your own ammo. That's right.
Ammo,
We're not supplying ammo.
That's
right. Exactly right. Oh, no. We'll supply the ammo, but we charge you for it. So there's an upcharge going on that one.
That's a good idea. Make a profit.
Except with your luck,
right.
One guy's going to show up.
That's right. And he's going to put a shot right through the block with something. And you go, okay, now I don't have a truck and I don't have any money for a truck. So Oh, well, that's the way it goes. Tell you what I'll do. Let's, before we get to George, because I know George wants to hang on, I want to drop down and pick up Rusty on line 3 out of Lakeland, Florida, okay? Hey, Rusty, you looking for some shooting glasses?
Yeah, Tom, I know from years ago, the first incidents I ever saw of shooting glasses was Robert Stack, standing and, doing his byline magazine. And they'd always showed him wearing, shooting glasses and everything. And then, of course, all of a sudden, now it's popular, and I'd never think of shooting without them. But, it kind of irks me that I put a $600 scope on a rifle and then put a $6 pair of polycarbonate safety glasses behind them. And, it's like, what was all that for? Being the optics guy that you are, I was wondering if you had an alternative.
You bet. There are a number of options out there. What you're looking for, there's 2 different kinds of plastic used primarily in shooting glasses. There's a CR39, I think that's the one you want. I forget what the others. They're both polycarbonate, but one's good and one's kind of cheap. That's the garbage you get. There's a website called sportglasses.com. Sportglasses.com, and it's basically it's Bud Deco, D-E-C-O-T. Everybody says Decot, but it's actually pronounced Deco. He makes fabulous shooting glasses, and he's made these for many, many years, and they are excellent. You can get them in prescription, but you don't need prescription, I gather, right?
No, I just use old man readers.
There you go. All right, check this out. He's got a lot of different styles. When you get Deco glasses, you're getting really high-quality shooting glasses. Also, you can get glasses from Ranger, R-A-N-G-E-R. Ranger has good quality. Now, understand, and then because we're going to use your example, if you're using a $600 piece of glass, you do not want to be looking through a $20 set of glasses. So these are going to be $100-plus glasses, but you're going to take care of them, keep them in the case. These are not things you throw into the bottom of your bag and let them rattle around. I mean, you're going to take care of them, and they should last you for decades.
Right. Well, living in the South, as we do, I mean, it's taking care of auxiliary, what some people would be considered auxiliary glasses, is not, something out of the ordinary. I mean, my sunglasses that I'm wearing right now, driving down the road, are off the shelf, but they were $350.
Well, that's the other thing is people, I think, it used to be people would say, well, I would never spend that for shooting glasses. Go, yeah, how much are those Maui gems you're wearing?
Right.
I mean, you're talking 200 plus. So I know exactly. Of course, I go to the cheap side because I lose them so quickly. And also, I need a little bit of reading prescription in mine. So I just they look like prescription glasses, and they are, but they actually mostly just have little reading action in them. But I just do that so I don't have to take reading glasses on and off. But take a look at Deco's stuff. Like I said, the website is sportglasses.com. Good people. They've been making shooting glasses forever. They really understand shooting glasses and what you need. And they've got them for pistol shooting as well as for rifle and shotgun. So you want to specify. You want to look at what they have and look at their different glasses, okay?
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, Rusty. What kind of glasses you guys wear when you're shooting?
I was just going to ask you about that. As far as shooting glass, I think people think everybody has seen the 50 cal shot off the metal plate that takes the guy's ear cups off. Mm-hmm. Okay, I think people think, well, shooting glasses would have saved him if it hit him in the eye.
Yeah, right.
Right,
going through his head.
Right. I mean, we're talking about spray. We're talking about some fragment stuff that is going to protect you.
Shell casings if you're shooting close to somebody.
Yeah, it's not. I think too often people think, well, I've got shooting glasses. I can do stupid stuff now. Let's get real close to that target. I got glasses. Like, really? Moron.
Yeah, really? Okay, yeah. If you take one in the forehead, how's that going to work for you?
Yeah, right.
I mean, there is the what were you thinking factor in some of this.
To answer your question, I have a really good pair of my own, but I do have probably a dozen of the throw in the bottom of the bag descriptions you gave.
Well, you have to have your loaners for people who show up. So, I think I mentioned last week I went to Sam's Club and picked up a couple of boxes. Each of them had 6 shooting glasses in them, and they were like $2 a piece for the glasses. Yeah. So, when people break them, and they will, and they scratch them, and they will, it doesn't bother me. And it's kind of like having, I always have loaner shooting buffs around, but I buy the cheap $10 shooting buffs. And then I always have a big bag of earplugs also.
So I'm the only one that uses a welding hood then?
So now I'm liking that. That's working for me, yeah.
That's a trendsetter.
Yeah, it sure is.
The weird thing is it's everywhere he carries.
It doesn't cause anybody any concern whatsoever. You look like Darth Vader going through the Safeway.
And to answer some of what you're looking for too, Tom, I wear a pair of glasses made by Wiley X, and they have a phenomenal side on the shooting aspect of safety glasses. And you can spend several hundreds of dollars, but you can also get the interchangeable lenses. So if you want the orange, you want the pink, you want the clear, you can get those colors and change them out.
That kind of leads us to an interesting question. People would say, why would you want different colors? Mostly it's about the light for that day and sometimes the color of the targets you're shooting.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's important.
So if it's a real bright day, you probably want some gray or green, darker glasses. But if it gets to be a little bit overcast, you might go to an orange or an amber. Yeah. If you're hunting pheasants have a lot of red in them. You go to an amber kind of color, almost a reddish, and it really makes that red pop. Also, some clay targets have red on them. If you're shooting against like a dark green background, if you go to a purplish, amberish color, it makes the target jump out and you can see it more quickly. That's why people are always doing their switcheroo thing on their glasses.
And all this time I thought Michelle made her decisions based on her level of tan.
Well, there's that. Of course, now you also have to be careful because, and you've all seen it, there are people who are so busy switching lenses and changing chokes they forget they actually have to shoot the target.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and I will say one of the things to look for when you're picking out your glasses, obviously you want to try them on, but don't forget to take your earmuffs with you because the glasses can break the seal so much.
Yes.
Or just be very painful.
Right. It can pinch.
Yep. And, another thing, too, is do it on a hot day if you have a chance to try them out because I have a real problem with those cheap polycarbonates fogging up on me. Mm-hmm. To the point where you can't see.
Well, you get the ones that are all cool and tactical, where they wrap around and they're tight against your face, and mine definitely will fog up, and so that's why I kind of like these Deco. They sit out from your face a little bit. You got a little air moving around.
Breathe, yeah.
Yeah, breathe. But you do want, and it depends. If you're shooting clay targets, you don't need the wrap around quite as much, maybe, but you do need a little side protection. And let me throw this in, too. I'm also talking about people wearing your shooting glasses when you're hunting. People think about, well, just at the range. No, because you're pulling the trigger when you're hunting. And if you get something in the muzzle and your gun blows up, you want that protection there. Also, if you're wing shooting, you're out shooting doves or pheasants or something, somebody takes a low shot and you don't want you hit in the face with a bunch of shot, you want to be wearing glasses.
Excellent.
There's also the idea of just if you're walking through the woods, I have talked to so many eye doctors who've had to treat people that get a stick in their eye, a branch or something. Just wear something to protect your eyes. I actually had eye doctors tell me, I really think people ought to wear glasses all the time, no matter if they need them or not, for vision.
Yeah, I wear shooting glasses when I'm working on my car.
Yeah, well, especially working on a car. I got most of my muffler in my eyes this weekend.
Gosh, you got all kinds of problems.
But the odd thing, Michael, is that's the only thing you're wearing is the glasses.
Whoa, that's off topic.
Safety first.
Well, as long as he's got the welder's helmet on, it's all good. that and nothing else. Now, that's actually just not a good image at all, I got to tell you.
Let's see if George can hang with us through this little pause here.
Yeah. All right. Hey, well, George, you hang there. Don't go anywhere. We'll take a quick break. We'll come right back.
Tired of paying for one concealed carry holster after another that's flimsy, hard to hide, or just plain uncomfortable? Alien Gear holsters feature a super stealthy and ultra comfortable design. Our professional quality holsters are backed by an ironclad triple guarantee, including a free 30-day test drive, free shell trades for life, and a forever warranty. Starting at just $29.88, you won't find a better quality or better priced holster on the planet. Any planet. Go to aliengearholsters.com to get yours now.
All right, now we are back with more Gun Talk in the after show. And we're going to bring in George from OC Shooters. He's on line 4 with us. Hey, George, how are you?
Another great show. I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, though, that I'm old enough to know who Wrong Way Corrigan is.
So you were the only person who got that, probably. You're going to do the whole Wrong Way Corrigan deal. So now let me ask you, is this your first time to hear the after show?
No, I listen to it all the time. I've talked to you a couple of times. So,
okay, all right, just making sure.
You know, and I the ones I missed, you know, I'm listening actually on my cell phone. And I always download all the shows and do them in podcasts. I had a friend of mine who started hunting, and he was saying, "What do? You're sitting in the trees all this time. You know, do you get bored?" And I'm like, "No, I'm listening to old episodes of Gun Talk. What are you talking about?
That's awesome.
I got more than enough to listen to." So
that's great.
I can sit up there for 8 hours. Listen, I wanted to mention something about the elections, or two quick things.
Okay.
Number one, every board of election needs more people to work as an election inspector, and I'm an election inspector and been one for years. And you know, it's important that people volunteer. You'll get paid money. Like, we're in New York, so we get like $200 for the day and another $35 for training. And actually, I'm what they call a coordinator, so I actually get a little bit more than that. Of course, I'm the person that ends up dealing with a lot of the problems. But you know, it's important, and you know, one of the reasons why I do it is when I do it, I know the election's being done fairly. Mm-hmm. And so it's important to do. But in this year, especially in New York, one of the things we're trying to focus on is anybody can go, and like here, it's $10 to get everybody who's registered to vote in your county. And they give it to you. It's on a CD, and you can download it. And,
you can get the list.
You can get the whole list for like $10, or at least in New York, that's what it is. And you can download it. You can transfer it to an Excel spreadsheet, and you can reorder it and everything, so you can look and see who's close. The one thing that really astonished me when I was really looking at it this year is the number of people that only vote in presidential elections, and that's one of the things that I'm trying to stress with my local clubs and everything is we need to contact those people that only vote in the presidential elections and try to get them out in this year's election in New York State. Because, you know, we're trying to defeat Cuomo and some of the other politicians that really, you know, raked us over the coals and want us to move out of state or put us in jail.
Well, George, I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the things, as simple as it sounds, before you can get people to the polls to vote, you have to get them registered. And it's amazing how many people are not registered to vote.
Right. And if you can just find... Now, fortunately, some of our clubs, when you join the club, you have to be a member of the NRA and you have to be registered to vote. But
before you can be along to the gun club.
Right.
That's great.
So,
I like it.
And so it's one of those things where if clubs make the list available, maybe you can look on your street, just the 4 or 5 houses around you, and see who votes only in the presidential elections, and go talk to them and say, hey, you know, listen, I saw the list, or maybe you don't even want to say you saw the list, but
right.
Do you vote in all 4 elections? Well, no, I normally vote in the presidential election. Well, this year we really need for you to vote in this election.
Yeah, it's not a presidential election, but we need you this year because there's some really important stuff going on, and you can pull those people in. I think it's a great idea, George, and that's the kind of thing that we talk about at Gun Rights Policy Conference. I mentioned that before, but getting people, as we like to say, ginned up, where you get all psyched up and you go back home from this thing and you're going, all right, I'm going to get involved. I'm here now. I know how to do it. I'm psyched. I don't know if you've ever been to it, but if you get a chance, George, try to get to the Gun Rights Policy Conference. This time it's in Chicago in late September. Hey, thank you, my friend. I appreciate the call, and thank you for your work. Man, you got to get people to the polls. I love it, guys, when somebody says, well, it really doesn't matter. And then we see an election that gets decided by like 12 votes.
Right.
And you're going, really? You could have walked up and down your street and gotten 12 votes.
Yeah, well, I find those are the first people to bitch. Well, did you vote? Well, no, but it's still, I don't like this guy. I don't like this lady. Well, you didn't vote. You lose all right, in my opinion. You lose your right to bitch.
That's when you want to say, well, just shut your mouth then. You have no right to speak until the next election when you vote. You have to be quiet until then. Of course, they're not going to. But, and that's not really a good way to approach it, but you feel like saying it. You're going,
Amen.
Are you kidding me?
Well, I think one of the problems we have is with our younger generations. There's some that are extremely interested and follow everything there is to do with the elections, and then there's others that for some reason could care less. And so the question is, how do you get those people who have families or, maybe just starting their own work life and beginning their adulthood to care?
Take them shooting.
Well, once they start working and realize how much they're paying in taxes and where it's going, they do start to figure out, hey, maybe I should get a little bit more involved. But unfortunately, by that point, the damage is already done.
If we could just get a voting app so they could just do that, and so that way they can vote while they're driving.
Sure.
So you can drive and text and vote. It's all good.
I can't promote that.
I know
you're having a problem with that? I don't understand.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with needing to get registered to vote, but I don't know about driving and registering.
Okay, we're going to go to line 5 where we have a AAA lawyer on the line wants to talk to Tom.
Wow.
I'm kind of liking this. Here, hold my beer. I have to vote.
Nice. For the record, Tom Gresham does not condone any behavior as such.
Hey, speak for yourself, man.
Yeah.
Oh, goodness.
Feel my beer.
That's right. Oh, God.
Here, hold this.
It's interesting. Go ahead. Go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, let's bring them back on track, Tom.
Too late. They're
Derailed.
lost. They're out in the woods. They're gone.
Gone.
I actually wanted to talk about the deer hunting and hunting cartridges because I was reading my friend John Barsness. He's been on the show with us before, and he's got this very cool book. It's Confessions of a Rifle Looney. It's the name of the book. And he's a rifle looney like I am. I just love different kinds of rifles and calibers, and he's writing about, he's got different chapters like on the 243 and the 25s and the 270s and the 6.5s. And then he finally got to it. I thought, I know he's going to get there. He says, the truth of it is, all of these work equally well. It doesn't matter. And he had the same experience I have had where somebody said, well, you need a Magnum for that. If you're going to hunt elk, you need a Magnum. And maybe a 30-06 isn't enough for deer. And I'm thinking, really? How many? Probably more deer have been shot with the 30-30, little pipsqueak cartridge than anything else out there. And as they go to more and more power in their guns, they shoot worse and worse. And so anyway, I thought I'd bring that up, and just in terms of right now, people are starting to, if they're not, there should be, thinking about getting ready for hunting season.
Well, if you mentioned loonies, Tom, I think the first step in making progress is admitting you have a problem.
Oh, God.
I have no problems whatsoever. I are one, and I'm happy with that.
Hi, Tom.
There's no problem here whatsoever. I am proud to be a rifle looney.
Rifle Anonymous.
That's right. Rifles Anonymous.
Hi, Tom.
Well, I think what this comes down to is just because you can shoot the larger calibers doesn't mean you have to, and doesn't mean you should, because it definitely breaks the position if you're not comfortable with the amount of recoil that is coming off of one of those guns.
No, it's exactly right. If you can't shoot it well, you will not hit the critters.
Right.
And you're not, or even worse, you'll hit them in a bad place, and you'll cripple them and lose them.
Well, we've talked before, your distance and where the animal is and the up and the down and your minutes of angle. And there's so many things that go into play. So, it goes back to that topic of ballistic coefficients and finding what works right and what's available. And even if you reload it yourself, there's lots of options out there to fine tune everything.
I don't like seeing new bruises in the mirror, so that's,
All right, now take that idea and spin it over to the self-defense world, where we're seeing people moving from the 45 to the 40 to the 9, and now we're getting some not little bitty guns, but mid-size guns in 380, which are just a dream to shoot.
And the ballistics are respectable.
And the ballistics are good, and a good hit with a 380 beats a miss with everything else.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. If you can control the recoil, that's the biggest thing.
I mean, we've got.
But on the midsize, the recoil midsize with a 380, there virtually is no recoil.
Not much,
right? No,
much
I'm talking mostly these really tiny little guns that people try to pick up nowadays.
The Kel-Tecs and the LCPs are small, and they're specific guns for a specific reason when you really can't carry a gun. But when you move it to something like the Glock 42, SIG has some nice midsize.
Car's got a nice
subcompact. Card has some nice little. I guess you'd call them subcompact, but not the teeny guns like a Kel-Tec or the Ruger LCP.
Yeah, and they still
those are great guns, but man, these mid to subcompacts are really nice to shoot.
Well, they got a lot of weight to them too, so the recoil is just greatly reduced.
And the other thing, and you probably remember me, probably 6-8 years ago, I started beating on the gun manufacturers about this, and they finally picked up on it. I said, make a gun that is not quite full size, but like subcompact in a 380, so that there are people out there who can't work the slide on a small 9. Well, you can work the slide on a smallish 380 because the spring didn't have to be nearly as powerful.
Right.
In fact, you haven't seen it, but we did a piece for the Guns and Gear TV show, and the fellow from SIG had one of their little 380s there. And to show how easy it is to work the slide, he would hold it in his right hand, and with his left index finger, he would just put his finger against the rear sight and flip it.
Wow.
And you can work the slide just by flipping your finger on that.
Wow.
And you go, that's the beauty there. And so if somebody says, well, my wife just can't work it. Okay, fine. We can train her up, or we can just buy a solution to the problem here. Just give her a 380.
Well, and I was just going to say, too, we can't say enough times how important it is. Don't buy a firearm for whomever, for your spouse. and either, a woman buying it for a man or a man for a woman. If you want to surprise them with that gift, take them along, let them choose, tell them what your budget is or whatever, but let them pick out the firearm because it is it's so crucial that they get what's comfortable to them. And we've talked about it many times. There's lots of stores that offer firearms that you can shoot in advance, that you don't have to be married to a firearm when you pick it up. You can shoot it. You can feel the recoil. You know what it operates as far as function with a gun and whether or not you can work the slide and everything. It's important. Your life depends on it.
You would not buy a car usually without driving it first. I mean, a lot of people wouldn't. Unless you've got way too much money to burn. So, I mean, if it's not a good fit for you, if you can't see over the steering wheel, why would you buy it?
Yeah, but it happens far more often, in the firearm world than it does in the car.
Well, and also, people go, to your point, Michelle, people go and buy a gun for somebody else. And they think they're doing them a favor, and they're trying to be nice about it.
Right.
And what they need to do is take that person, son, daughter, wife, whomever, to the store, have them try them, and say, which one do you like? At the same time, providing a little guidance where you say, okay, I'm thinking maybe the 17 HMR pistol is not your self-defense gun. Let's talk a little bit about that. But within fairly loose guidelines, find one that fits your hands that you can actually operate. And I always have to add this in. You have to be your own expert. You cannot, unfortunately, depend upon the people selling the guns there to give you solid advice. Some do, and some stores are great, but unfortunately, some of them don't.
Same as a car dealer analogy.
Yep.
So, I don't know. What is the deal with gun store clerks, workers, maybe not as much as they used to, I hope, about them wanting to give a powerful gun to a woman so that she is almost guaranteed to fail when she goes and shoots it? What's that all about?
Yeah, that does not happen in our store.
No, I know it wouldn't happen in your store.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's part of that ego. This is what I use, and this is the brutality that I take. It is almost what it's like.
It's machismo.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's not always that. I think it could also be, hey, I've sat on this gun for 8 months and I want to get rid of it, so it's perfect for you.
It's what I have in stock. So
It
it's the
could
one
be.
for you.
Yep.
There's some of that, no doubt. There's some of that. Or, you know what, I've got a spiff going. If I move some of these guns, I get an extra $10 on them or something. Yep. So there's what they call the competing agendas going on here.
Right. It requires some pre-education, whether you seek that from a person that, belongs to your local gun club or just a person that you can talk to on friendly terms, but you need a little bit of pre-education to go in there. Lots of times when people come into our store, it's like, we'd love to sell you one today, but honestly, this is what you need to understand and this is what you need to try. And I'd recommend taking baby steps. Start small, work through your calibers. The most important thing here is there really isn't a time constraint or shouldn't be a time constraint.
If you think somebody's going to attack you this afternoon, probably buying a gun isn't what you need to be doing at this particular moment.
Right.
And having that 17 HMR pistol doesn't sound so stupid now, does it?
Actually, you never know. Well, I tell you what, if you guys circle way back, if you get a chance on Netflix or someplace, watch some of these older TV shows, cop shows, and watch the revolvers and the gun handling and all, and you just go, wow. And is there any wonder that for generations people had stupid gun handling because they watched it all on TV?
And the movies are getting better too.
Yeah, just go back and watch like X-Files on Netflix. You're going to see, even in the late 90s, you're going to see that. They really didn't, in my opinion, start changing the way that people observed. Let me try talking English. They didn't really cater to the gun lovers on these TV shows until probably maybe 10 years ago.
And it's interesting, but you can tell when you watch some of these shows that they either brought in somebody or they sent the actors to a school somewhere to get them really good. You know who's really good at that? It just occurred to me. NCIS Los Angeles with was it
Mark
Ice-T? Mark? No. That's
right.
Ice-T is on the Los Angeles.
Ice Cube.
Ice Cube. It's one of those guys. Ice Cube. I don't know.
Someone in a very frigid climate.
That's right. Is that chamomile?
Beverage.
Beverage. Okay. Right. Ice Cube. Yeah, he handles guns very well. Mark Hartman does on NCIS. Those guys do. So whoever has that franchise.
Well, Ice Cube is a huge, if I'm not mistaken, Second Amendment advocate.
Yeah, he's a gun guy. Yeah.
Well, that brings up a question, Tom. What's the impetus for doing that? Do you think it's because a lot of gun people said, "Hey, you're doing it wrong. It's a terrible way to display guns," or is there another reason why they've turned it around and started making it more realistic, more accurate?
I think probably one of the prime motivators for our behavior all the way across the board is not wanting to be embarrassed on all things in life. And I think probably some of them got held up to ridicule, and the fact that now there's so much online action going on where people can say, you guys just look stupid. And that actually flows back to the producers, directors, whatever, and they're going, hey, we don't want to look stupid.
Gotcha.
And I'm thinking that maybe that could be a part of it. What do you think?
Well, you can even, any TV show that's been on for the last 40 years, you can probably find it on this website. You go to imfdb.org, Internet Movie Firearms Database. Any movie, it'll tell you every gun that's ever been in it, if they were holding it properly, if the gun changed from scene to scene. It's just incredible the amount of detail that these fans put into watching these television shows to pull out what kind of, that was a sci-fi movie, but this was actually a modified MP5, and this is what they modified, and this is how they...
imfdb.com?
Yep. .org, I'm sorry.
Oh, .org. Okay, that's why it wouldn't work for me. Okay. Let me see. O-R...
Michael, can you get him to change it to .com?
How do you spell org? It's like, okay, have you guys seen the movie The Way of the Gun?
I heard it was great. I'm not very cultured, though.
Do what you have to do to go see this movie or Netflix it or whatever you got to do. It's okay for the first half. The final gunfight scene, Antonio Banderas, I believe. I think that's who's in it.
You have returned. They changed B.
That's right. It is the most amazing gunfight scene. It goes on forever with lots of guns, but it's called The Way of the Gun. You just got to go see this.
Is it a Western?
No.
Okay.
No. It's modern era. And so, I mean, when this guy's in the middle of a fight getting shot up and he reloads and does a press check in the middle of it, I'm going, well, that was pretty interesting.
Cool.
Okay. Somebody is doing some serious training on this.
To check that out.
Yeah, you'll like this one, and I'm sure you can probably watch it online or somewhere. I don't know.
We'll just run down to the movie place.
The movie place.
There's like one in this area.
Got a bunch, but they're always the parking lots are so you can see the tumbleweed and everything, you know?
Yeah, but
right.
They let him right to the front of that line when he's got that welding helmet on, though.
And he gets to sit by himself because there's nobody else there.
The trick is eating popcorn with the helmet on. That's the trick.
I bet.
And with that, we have completely gone off the rails, as we always do.
Big surprise there.
Man, yeah, big surprise there. So if anybody wants to keep listening, they can, but we're not going to be talking anymore. So that's your own. Okay. All right, you guys have a great week. And
hey, what's going on next week? I think we should pitch that a little bit.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. I'm going to be somewhere. Where am I? I'm in Oregon. We're going to be doing a remote show from the Midnight 3-Gun, Crimson Trace Midnight 3-Gun event. That's where you go out in the desert and nobody's allowed to turn on their lights, and everybody shoots in the dark. What could go wrong?
What a cool... Is this second annual?
This is like
third annual.
Third and
annual,
it's
yeah.
They're using lights, lasers, IR, night vision, and I mean lots of shoot 'em up with 3-gun, shotgun, rifle, pistol, and it really is in the high desert, and it's dark. And the thing I'm looking forward to is they're saying that's like a high of 85 and a low of 55, and it won't be that in Louisiana until November. So I'm going, oh yeah, give me some of that. But we're going to be doing the show from there. So we'll have a whole bunch of sponsors and shooters and different gun companies and people who make gun stuff on, and we'll have a chance to chat and find out what's going on there. And oh yeah, I don't know what it is. We just got a note from one of the gun companies that said, hey guys, we need you to sign an NDA for us, non-disclosure agreement, because we've got a cool gun coming out. And they can't even tell us like a hint, this is anything about it. So, as soon as I get the paperwork on it, I won't be able to tell you.
Great. We're not looking forward to that.
No.
That's right. You'll be looking forward to me not being able to tell you.
Right.
Okay.
Super non-suspenseful.
Hey, I got this whole host thing mastered now, right?
You have got it down to a T.
Piece of cake, yeah.
It's a shame that your career sends you to such miserable places like that, Tom. You
have
to tolerate
what are you going to
night shoots?
Okay, all right. I'll take an extra minute here. I told you I was going to go to the Grand American Trap Shoot. Mm-hmm. Didn't get there.
Oh.
I got 3/4 of the way there on Friday. And of course, you guys know I'm a pilot. I jump in my little airplane, we point it north toward Illinois, where the Grand is held. And I've been watching the weather. It's got thunderstorms through the area and all that. And the ceiling, which is the height of the clouds that you have to fly through, is 500 feet above the field. So when you fly down through the clouds, you only have 500 feet when you break out.
Wow.
Yeah, you can do that. Okay, I can do that. And so I'm going up there, heading toward, and get just about to Memphis. And we got thunderstorms everywhere. And I'm ducking and dodging, going left and right around them. And I keep watching the weather report for where I'm headed from Sparta, Illinois, and still a 500-foot ceiling. And then I got a fuel gauge on my plane that goes from full, and in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, it goes from full to empty.
Oh.
And I'm looking at it and going, I know that that's a gauge problem. Mm-hmm. I know that there's fuel in there. But I also know that when I get there, I'll need to have some cushion. And right now, I don't know if that tank suddenly sprung a leak.
Right.
I know it's like a 99.9% chance it's just fine.
Because if you run totally out of fuel, you'll be up there all day.
Yeah, you can just park it. They just pull over to the side of the road. Yeah, it's not a problem. So I land in, and there's a reason I'm going here because it has a real application for guns and shooting. I land up in north of Memphis in Arkansas, look in the tank, and sure enough, it's full of gas. I knew it would be. And so we got that, we got the thunderstorms, we got the low ceiling up there, and I'm reading this book right now. It's a little bit older book, Malcolm Gladwell, the guy who wrote The Tipping Point. Mm-hmm. And the name of the book is Blink, and it's about how we make snap decisions. A lot of times we don't know why, but we're aware of something, but we can't explain it. Mm-hmm. It's that little feeling you get in the back, where your hair stands up in the back of your neck. Yeah. Intuition, whatever. And they've actually measured it, and it's actually a very good predictor of what's actually going on, even though you can't explain what's going on. And I had that working for me, and I'm going, this does not feel right. I have no idea why. I don't know what's going on. And I refueled the plane and took off and pointed it south and flew 2 hours back home and parked it and said, not doing this today. Just not doing it. But my point, I guess, is for all of us to maybe start paying more attention and not shrug it off when you get that weird little feeling, something doesn't feel right. it's probably a good idea to honor that, because it's talking to you, and it's seeing things, and they've got all these studies now, but it's actually reacting to things that are accurate, but you don't know why.
It's quantum physics, really, if you break it down to it. But every time I've ignored it, I've regretted it.
Yeah. Oh, what do we say? We said, well, I knew I shouldn't have done that, but I did it anyway.
Yep. When you took the job here, Michael, remember how much you regret that?
Twice,
that's right.
Oh, slow learner, huh?
Nice. Well, he's got a whole week to learn. We'll continue this.
All right, guys. Let me all of us get back to work and doing something more productive than this.
Like shooting.
Like shooting. Important things. That's right. Have yourself a good week, and we will do it again next time.
See you, buddy.
Take care.
You've been listening to the Gun Talk After Show. It comes up after the regular radio broadcast right here. You can download it on your pod, or you can listen to it right on your computer. This is where Tom, Jim, Michelle, and Michael hang around and have a little more fun doing what they do best, talking about guns. Check us out online at guntalk.com, and we'll see you back here next week.